Well, this is it. The time has finally arrived. You've waited 16 long years, and now you're finally going to be able to get behind the wheel for the very first time. You're taking your first steps towards that elusive driver's license, towards a world where you get to drive wherever you want, whenever you want. Are you ready for this? Are you ready to get behind the wheel and drive? Are you ready to drive? Well, you can't. Not yet anyways. I mean, you didn't really think it would be as simple as just getting behind the wheel and hitting the gas, did you? Man, if it was that easy, I would be out of a job. There's actually a goodly number of things to check up on before you ever set foot inside your vehicle. Because if you don't, the little things that you miss can result in big problems. A little bit of preventative safety before you drive can save you from a lot of hassles, and possibly accidents. After you drive. When preparing to drive, the very first thing you'll want to check on before you start out is your tires. Your tires are your connection to the road. And going out driving with bad tires can be like walking outside with shoes on through a junkyard full of broken beer bottles and used needles. Well, you see where this analogy is going. In either case, you're just one step away from a serious ouch. Check the surface of your tires. Make sure that they look clean and free of any debris. You may have driven over a nail or a piece of glass the last time you were out and not noticed. If you see anything, make sure you have the tire repaired before you attempt to drive anywhere on it, even if you're lucky enough to not have a flat tire yet. If you drive over that same debris a second time, it might just finish the job. You also want to check your tires to make sure they've all got plenty of air in them. Ever seen a guy kick his tires? He was probably checking the air pressure. If the tire seems to be slightly flat or has a bit too much give to it, it might have low air pressure, which could be very dangerous to drive on. Of course, the whole kicking thing isn't really the most scientific method to use, which is why it's always a good idea to carry one of these in your trunk. It's a tire pressure gauge, and if you think that your tire pressure might be low, you can quickly check it with one of these. The numbers on your tire pressure gauge will tell you how much air is in your tires, and your car's service manual will tell you how much air pressure is the proper amount for your particular tires. It varies from tire to tire, so make sure you know what you're looking for. If the air pressure in your tires is low, make sure you go and get your tires properly refilled at a service station right away. Don't keep driving on them, or you could damage your tires and risk ending up in a major accident too. And once you made sure that all your tires look good, check the path directly behind your vehicle. You want to make sure that you won't be taking those tires over anything dangerous, like broken glass, while you're pulling out of your parking space, or your trip could be very short. Also, be sure to check for toys and skateboards and such. Little kids have a tendency to leave things just lying around. And since they usually sit so low to the ground, they can be very hard to see from inside your car, until it's too late. In fact, while you're checking for those kids' toys, check for kids too. Make sure there aren't any children or pets you'll need to be aware of before you drive. They can be difficult to see from inside the car too. Just play it safe and check before you start the car. Trust me, Fluffy will thank you. Now, once you're done checking the tires and making sure you're not going to drive over Fluffy, take a look underneath your car too before you stand back up. If you see any sort of dripping or any puddles underneath your vehicle, that could be a sign of serious problems in your engine, such as a cracked oil pan or other essential fluids escaping. Trust me, you do not want to try to drive without the proper fluids in your car. Unless you're trying to turn your car into a 2-ton paperweight. In other words, puddle bad. Get fluids checked. Even if you never see any leaking fluids underneath your car, you should still check the fluid levels under your hood about once a month. Oil, brake fluid, windshield wiper fluid, power steering fluid, transmission fluid, and coolant. Your car's service manual should tell you exactly how to check each one of them and when. Honestly, it's easy. It only takes a minute, and it can really save you a lot of headaches in the future. If you go too long without proper maintenance, your vehicle just might strand you in a very awkward location. They never seem to break down right in front of the mechanics, unfortunately. So everything looks good. Just one more thing to take care of before you get in the car. If you're carrying anything with you, like food or CDs, store them in the trunk rather than in the car itself. If you get in an accident or have to make a sudden turn, that stuff can go flying around inside the cabin of your car, and unfortunately, it's just human instinct to grab for it if something starts to slip. That moment of distraction can really make things a lot worse in an emergency. Better that you just keep it back there where it's safe and you don't have to worry about it. So, everything is checked. Everything looks good. Time to finally break out those car keys and get inside the vehicle. Excited? Of course you are! Oh, and a little tip. When you're unlocking your car door, hold all the keys you're not using in your hand, rather than letting them dangle on the ring. That way, they won't scratch your car door as you're unlocking it. Ah, that new car smell. Smells like victory. Hold on a second. We're not ready to start driving just yet. We've got things to check inside the car too, before we'll be ready to drive. First, you want to make sure that both your seat and your steering wheel, if it's adjustable, are in the correct position, both for your comfort and ease of use. Your feet should be able to comfortably reach the pedals, and make sure that they don't just reach the pedals, but that you can also press the pedals all the way to the floor. Make sure your seat back is adjusted comfortably, and make sure your headrest is high enough to support your entire head. It's not just a comfort thing, it's also a safety thing. If your headrest is too low, it can actually cause whiplash if you're in an accident. Also, make sure you can comfortably reach the steering wheel and all the necessary switches and levers without having to stretch. Now once you've got all that where it needs to be, it's time to buckle up. Always remember, buckle up after you've adjusted the seat first. Otherwise, the belt may not fit properly. I'm pretty sure you know how to use a seat belt, but just remember, make sure you hear that click when you buckle up. If you don't, the belt may not be working. Oh, and if it's not working, get it working. Yup, that means you have to get it fixed before you start driving. Don't try driving without your seatbelt, no matter how uncool you might think they are. In most states, you can actually get a traffic ticket for not wearing your seatbelt. And of course, there's also the whole getting in an accident and flying through your windshield problem too. Just buckle up. Seatbelts may not be your thing, but I'm guessing dying isn't your thing either. Play it safe. Now once your seat is good and you're buckled up, you need to check your mirrors. Make sure you can see clearly in each one of them. Since different drivers are different sizes, each person that drives the vehicle may require that the mirrors are set at different angles, which means you should always make sure they're set for you specifically before you start driving, especially if you're sharing the same car with your parents or siblings. Don't try and adjust the mirrors once you're already on the road. It takes your attention off your driving and can cause accidents. Good. One more thing. Lock your door before you start to drive. It's an extra safety precaution in case somebody unexpectedly tries to get in your car. There. Much better. And now, yes, that's right. It's almost time for the keys. I said almost. First, before you worry about the car keys, always remember to release your parking brake. If you try and drive with the parking brake still on, you're gonna hear a nasty grinding noise. Plus, you look like an idiot. Now, where did I put those car keys?